Welcome to another episode of the Primal Edge Health podcast. Jessica and Tristan are here to answer your questions in yet another awesome Q&A session. Um, maybe we could start out just and talk about the last video I made. That was highly controversial about
Was that
not
your bacon
not
video?
this is like why I don't eat bacon. And some people were so upset with me that I said I don't eat bacon. So let me first of all say I don't care if you eat bacon. I'm not saying you should not eat bacon. I was just giving the reasons why I don't include it, and we as a family don't really eat it in our diet, and why there's better sources of proteins and fats. So, yeah, don't be afraid. I'm not trying to take away your precious bacon. I'm not gonna start telling you that you can't drink coffee or you can never eat cacao and chocolate or whatever other dogmatic thing other people say. You're fine to eat bacon. I just think there's better food sources. And pigs are like big, cute dogs with human skin, and I don't want to eat them. So, yeah. I hope no vegans are watching this because the vegans are going to start saying, well, if you have compassion for pigs, but you don't have... Shut up. Okay? Shut up about that. But let's get into some questions. I also got into to kind of deflect the heat from the bacon argument. I decided to go ahead and state my opinion concerning Star Wars and why I think.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because
all in one video.
No, it wasn't in the video. It was just in the comments. I don't want to lose all our subscribers on YouTube.
Tristan?
Yeah, so yeah, it was. Maybe I was in a self-destructive pattern that day, and I was just really trying to bring the heat on me. But Jessica and I recently, she had never really seen the original Star Wars.
This is true.
She and I thought like it was a part of my childhood. I really remember enjoying it so much. Like Return of the Jedi was like my favorite movie. But we watched the original trilogy, and I think we both pretty much agreed that at the end of Return of the Jedi, you look back and you're just like, what the heck are people so hyped about? That was kind of whack. So yeah, if you're mad at me about the bacon thing,
just wait. It gets better.
There's the nail in the coffin. I think the original Star Wars trilogy is crap as like a film and sci-fi trilogy. If you want good sci-fi, check out like 2001: A Space Odyssey or even Blade Runner. Blade Runner came out in 1982. That's a year before Return of the Jedi. And the visual effects, some of the stuff that they did in Blade Runner was way more impressive than anything in Return of the Jedi, which was a crap movie.
But the second movie was
exactly,
okay, right?
Exactly.
Which one was that?
The Empire Strikes
There you
Back
go.
is a fantastic movie.
That one was good.
It's great. It's entertaining. It's not the best sci-fi movie. It's nothing like incredible. And the first one was pretty interesting. They had some cool. I don't know, it was a really interesting kind of concept film, but also very flawed. I mean, Obi-Wan dissolving into thin air. Yoda dissolves into thin air, but when Darth Vader is killed, he has to be like burned or barbecued by Ewoks, whatever it was that they were doing. Anyways, so yeah, if you really want a reason to hate me, I don't eat bacon and I don't like Star Wars anymore. I've wiped the fog from my eyes and realized that's the original Star Wars trilogy is not what we all thought it was, and I was one of those people. So, yeah, you can tune out, unsubscribe now.
So how do we segue into the questions?
Now let's get to the real questions, crap that really matters, and we really appreciate all the questions. We got a lot of good ones this time, so let's just start out. We'll kind of go in order, I guess, of the way that they're listed. Christina Gamboa Mendeville asks, well, she says, I usually eat 3 meals, but let's say one day I eat 2 meals. Of course, I don't get my total protein or carbs for the day. Okay, so you're talking about maybe going a little bit lower in protein some days, or low carbs. So I guess you're talking about going low in protein and fats, because there's really no. I mean, you don't need carbs. There's a certain amount of fats that you'll need dietarily, but going super low calorie every once in a while, if you're just not hungry, and not eating a lot of protein is fine. I think people overestimate the protein needs. Some people underestimate it, and some people overestimate it. But I think a lot of people, especially in fitness circles, people who are trying to build muscle and maintain certain physiques, I think a lot of times protein needs are overestimated. So yeah, you're fine. Go under. I mean, it's all contextual. If you're trying to recover your metabolism from aggressively dieting, anorexic style dieting, bodybuilding, low fat and low carb dieting for a period of time, you're a woman, you're very low body fat. And yeah, you don't want to be skipping meals a lot of the time. You want to be increasing your metabolism. And and kind of repairing that. I don't want to say damage because that's a loaded term, but kind of repairing the
habits.
Yeah.
Like you train your body in a certain way, and then you try to train it in a different way. It takes time.
Yeah, you're trying to balance out the equation. You went super low calories for very long. Your hormones got messed up in that situation, and you need to balance it out by increasing your caloric intake. A lot of the people that we work with, especially in the last few weeks, it's been about you need to eat more and stop worrying about being shredded because you're a woman, and women shouldn't be worried about being 10% body fat. If you want to be fertile, you shouldn't be looking to have like veins in your stomach and six-pack abs as a female. And as a man, it might not always be healthy for everybody as well. So I don't know. So yeah, there's the answer. It's all contextual, but for most people, yeah, going a little bit lower on protein some days is great. I mean, as far as long-term health goes, excessive protein's not going to be helpful. Jessica's next to me. I think she just held back a burp. Let's talk about her. She's pregnant right now. She's 3 months pregnant. So there's been a lot of questions about your pregnancy. She thought it's funny that I pointed that out. I noticed it. But yeah, what's up with pregnancy, Jessica? People want to know if you're like eating keto. People wonder if it's okay to be keto in pregnancy. Okay? What are you doing? Look at your glow. That pregnant glow.
Yes, I'm pregnant. I just finished the first trimester.
My baby.
True. True. And it's been good. I think the first trimester for a lot of women, that's the big transition period. There are a lot of adjustments that your body has to get comfortable with. So for me personally, I had a few weeks where everything was kind of up in the air. All the food that I was really accustomed to eating, all my favorite foods.
She kept telling me like this doesn't taste good.
The same way as I was used to.
She's like, I want an avocado, but I don't want an avocado.
Yeah, it was so weird.
I'm like, just eat an avocado. Come on. If you don't want it, don't eat it. Go eat some bananas. Eat something.
But there was a period, so I was kind of experimenting with food, trying to figure out what was going on and what made me feel good and really energized and charged and comfortable.
All right.
So, I mean, as far as keto and pregnancy, I don't know. I mean, I'm like towards that trajectory. I feel better for that. We've been doing keto for like 2 years before I got pregnant, at least.
You probably like a year and a half.
Yeah, but I've heard some things. You know, some women, they have higher tolerance; they can have a few more carbs. There were some days I was having maybe 20 to 30 grams of carbs in a meal. So like still less than 100.
Well, you did more some days. I think you were probably like 100 grams of carbs on some days. I don't know. I think
but the goal is always to be taking care of your baby and your body, and it's not to stick to a certain tract. It's not to stick to a
ideology.
Yeah, you're not trying to label yourself like, I don't really care if I'm in keto during my pregnancy. That's not like the end goal. You know, the end goal is to feel good and have energy and have a stable mind and like a calm, like emotional disposition, which I have. I think I haven't. I mean, pregnancy is kind of one of those times.
I'm afraid to answer that question.
Yeah.
Primal fear just rose up in me when she glanced over. Let me just say this too. I think what she said is really important about like not sticking. It's not about like I am keto and now I am pregnant. I must be keto and pregnant.
Right.
It's like keto's a tool. It's a great way of eating, and I think when women get pregnant, they've been doing ketogenic diet long term. They'll probably gravitate towards a more keto style diet when they're pregnant. And anecdotally, a lot of women who've done ketogenic diet when they're pregnant have said that they had a much higher tolerance for carbohydrates, would still remain in ketosis. So yeah, I think it's important people don't get attached to like labels and ideology. But from what I've been seeing, she's been doing a lot of high fat, some days of more carbs, some days of like straight keto, and some days of just like, well, that's a funny combination. That's interesting.
This is true. And I think as far as, I wouldn't ever recommend anybody transition into keto if they are pregnant. I think that's something that you should think about doing prior to pregnancy, if you're interested in it, or wait until you're finished and at least a few months postpartum, you're kind of recovered and ready to try something new. I wouldn't think that anybody who's pregnant should try to adapt.
What about breastfeeding?
I mean, theoretically, I think it's very appealing. I know the breast milk itself is a ketogenic formula.
No, I mean, when you're breastfeeding, are you going to drink the milk since it's ketogenic?
No,
Will
probably
you
not.
drink your own breast milk?
It's kind of awkward to reach.
Okay. Wait, that is a common question. Or can I do keto while breastfeeding? Yeah, of course you can. Absolutely no contradiction there. So, let's see. All right. Next question. Thoughts on kombucha? Found a variety that's got 4 grams of sugar, and it doesn't kick me out of keto, but it's becoming more of a habit. Kombucha, yeah, I mean, it's contextual, of course. If it fits into your dietary needs, if it fits into your macronutrient needs, if you're trying to be in deep ketosis, for some people, kombucha is not going to be ideal. It might be a little bit higher in sugar. You want to get one that's well fermented, maybe one that is made by you or a friend, or you get at a farmer's market, and not one that's available commercially. That's a little bit higher in sugar. So, I mean, you could test it, see how you feel. If you're worried about your blood ketones going down from it, you can test blood ketones while consuming kombucha.
A note about kombucha: it's usually with black tea and then sugar. So if you're trying to avoid caffeine, I think there's a bit of caffeine in kombucha. There's alternatives though. If you like, bubbly drinks are awesome. So there's mineral water for starts, but also water kefir. You could get, you can make teas and make herbal teas and then just ferment them. So they have that same bubbly thing, but they don't have sugar or caffeine.
All right. Next part of that question from Andrew Thomas asks, how much fiber is too much fiber? Found myself lumping in 40 to 50 grams of mostly soluble fiber from veggies and avocados. How much fiber is too much fiber? Your toilet will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Context, man. I mean, if it's blocking you up or if it's making you poop way too much, then you're probably eating a little bit too much. I think fiber can be very important for some individuals, and for some individuals that just don't do well on high fiber diets. So, I know Jessica doesn't like as much fiber as I do dietarily. And the sources of fiber can be very important too. And we both have different tolerances to different foods, including fibrous foods like flax, chia, stuff like that. So that's all context. Let's get another one. Blink Blink, Medhawarinter, Danarak Watana.
Watana. That's
Wow.
cool.
What kind of, is this a real? Yeah.
French.
That's her name.
Le Cordon Bleu.
She lives in Bangkok.
Mm.
She's strong. She's a weightlifter. I don't know. There's a she's it looks like she's low bar back squatting in that picture, so maybe she's a power lifter. All right, so Blink Blink Medhawar Interner Dananar Chark Wakatana. I know I butchered your name. I'm sorry. She's got a few questions. She's really sweet. She asks, she's been low carb for over a month and just started keto about a week ago. 5'2", 160 to 162, powerlifting 5 days a week, 37.5% body fat. She's estimating, obviously. Wants to lose fat, build lean mass. Currently on 100. Oh man, is this a give me macros question? 120 to 125 grams of protein, 50 grams of carb, 140 to 160 grams of fat, which equal around 1,900 to 2,100 calories. Not having any side effects. Feels good. Is it normal for someone not to have any of those side effects? You're worried. All right, so she's worried that she feels too good. She's read all this stuff about keto makes you feel so bad. She's heard all the IIFYM gurus and these other people spouting this gibberish like, oh, a ketogenic diet will make you drop your performance, drop strength. And she's a very strong gal. She's a power lifter. And she's not experiencing any of these side effects. So she's wondering if she's in ketosis or not. Is her protein too high? She's doing a very high volume training, 125 grams of protein at 160 pounds. So you probably got significant lean muscle mass, Blink Blink, and your protein, I wouldn't say it's too high. You might be able to dial it back a little bit and not really notice much of a difference in terms of performance and recovery. So I would say maybe drop back the protein a little bit, see how it's going if you can do that.
Drop it
Fats,
back by how much?
I don't know.
What would you say?
You just experiment. Maybe try 100 grams of protein. See what you feel like. If you feel way more hungry, it might just be because you're used to more protein and oxidizing protein for energy. In which case, maybe you can increase those fats just a little bit. But look, you're probably pretty well adapted to the diet. You've been training very hard as a power lifter on 100 grams of protein for a while, and you started keto a week ago, and you probably just adapted quick because you're very healthy, you're used to the lower carbs, and you're not doing a lot of aerobic exercise. You're doing an anaerobic activity. So if you're not experiencing these side effects of adaptation that people usually experience as hard parts of it, you should be glad. You're awesome. You're doing good. She says, I know this might sound bad, but I eat cheese every day and nuts. That's not bad. I don't know why people believe these ridiculous statements like you can't eat any cheese or nuts. You're fine. If you're still gaining strength, if you feel good,
You feel good. That's a really big marker.
performing,
just in itself.
you can start measuring your blood ketones if you want. Measure it at least 2 hours after a meal, and I would say the best time to measure it would probably be the afternoon. You can do fasting ketones if you want, but in the morning they'll be a bit lower, depending on context, of course. Having a reasonable amount of cheese and nuts is absolutely fine. You're doing good, so don't let the confusion confuse you. Don't get confounded by this. A lot of the times it can take people quite a bit of time to really get those deep adaptation, but some people feel great quickly. So, there's a few other parts of this question, but there's a lot of other questions I want to hit on. Luke Jillings asked if we drink kombucha. We don't drink kombucha.
No.
I like kombucha, I just don't drink it. Next question. Thank you in advance for taking the time to read my questions. Ooh, look at that. So confident that we were going to get that question. If you had experience with someone with Lyme's disease and ketosis, her and her fiance both have Lyme's and are really looking to get on that and utilize diet and lifestyle to attack this issue. So, all right, Lori Lightning Bolt. Lyme's disease is something that people have experienced benefits of a ketogenic diet in the context of Lyme's disease. It's something that it's a disease marked by chronic inflammation, and decreasing inflammation whatever way possible can be very beneficial. I would try some other modes such as cold thermogenesis, exposing yourself to cold regularly, and correct your environment, your sleep cycles. Get your circadian rhythms as dialed in as possible when you're dealing with a chronic Lyme's or another autoimmune disease. It's very important to fix your environment. So please go ahead and dial in your diet. Get through that adaptation phase. Get in that deep ketogenic state, that deep ketotic state. Eliminate foods that you know cause inflammation in your body, and get your lifestyle right. I mean, there's so many other things other than diet that you can do. Cold thermogenesis is one thing to look into, and also correcting your circadian rhythms and your light environment is going to be very, very important. She also says, I'm on your website and click on coaching. It doesn't take me anywhere but your homepage again. Well, that's not good. We have to look at that. Sorry about that. Is this because you're full? It's not because we're full. I mean, we make time when we have time to take on clients. So we'll make sure we fix that if anyone's looking for coaching. And there's a problem with the website, I apologize. It's not because we don't want to take on clients. It's just probably some strange issue with the plugin on the website that Jessica's going to look into. So next question is from Angela Maria Mesa Orozco. My question is this. Last year I did keto for 6 months until I was shredded. Okay, there's a red light for me right there. Shredded. When a woman wants to be shredded, that might not be. It's 98.9% of the time there's something going on that's not exactly healthy. So I'm sorry, but being shredded is not always going to be very beneficial. So I was shredded and I had the loss of a loved one and got really depressed. I'm really sorry that you lost somebody. And so it sounds like Angela started eating junk food, high calorie food, stopped working out, went through a funk. Started again in January this time. High reps, lightweight. But what would happen if I do moderate reps with moderate weight or high weight, not too many reps or until failure? What do you think will be the outcome? All right. First of all, Margela Maria, being shredded is going to make you much more prone to depression. Being in that state, being in the state where your body is starving for nutrition, is at an unhealthily low level of body fat. Regardless, yes, I know it takes dedication. It's for a woman to be shredded. It is an impressive physical, psychological thing, but from a health standpoint, your body cannot maintain that very long. So you're gonna have to be, first of all, you're gonna have to be comfortable with your body not having veins all over it, not having a six-pack as a woman, if you want to be healthy hormonally, mentally, and psychologically. So moderate reps with moderate weight, high weight, lower reps until failure. What do I think would be the changes? Now, this is all contextually driven, and there hasn't been a lot of like scientific research into this stuff, but usually volume, total volume, being equated, if you have the same volume, hypertrophy-wise, if you're doing like 8 sets of 3 versus 5 sets of 5, and you equate the volume, the total weight moved, you'll probably get similar results. That being said, this is going to be contextual for the individual. So if you in the past have done very high reps with lighter weight, and you got very good results, and you're looking to change it up, maybe you should try a little bit higher weight, increasing your strength. If you want to put on muscle, you're going to need to progress in strength. You're going to need to be able to move more weight, especially as a natural lifter. So she's asking if she'll still look shredded doing higher weight with less reps. Yes, you can still be shredded with higher weight, less reps. But please, for the sake of your health, your longevity, your psychological state, be more comfortable not being straight up shredded. You could still, I'm not saying you have to be obese. See, this is the problem when you talk to somebody who's been obsessively trying to get shredded or maintaining a body that hormonally and psychologically is not going to be healthy, and physically is not going to be healthy long term. If you tell them you got to be comfortable at a little bit higher body fat percentage, their mind extrapolates this and they go to this extreme thing in their mind, and this little liar in the back of the head says, oh, he's saying that you need to be fat. And this is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you got to be comfortable not being unnaturally shredded. So you want to gain strength. If you want to get results, too many veins equals not many gains. So yeah, don't go too hard on the trying to be shredded.
But women can look phenomenal. I mean, I think strong women are really, they're like, it's an attractive body type. You don't have to be super, super, super skinny. I mean, skinny isn't...
Shredded.
Right? Skinny isn't healthy.
Shredded implies...
You can be ripped, right? But
yeah, there's like ripped and then there's shredded.
Yeah.
Like shredded is like, I don't know. When I hear shredded, I'm thinking like striations in your shoulders, just like your hip bones sticking out, stuff like that. Yeah. Shredded, not the greatest look for women. I mean, look at... I don't know. We'll move on to the next question. We've already kind of beat that one up in other podcasts, I think, as well. Carlo Kilroy is asking about natural green powders. What are your thoughts?
I like them.
I like them.
Yeah, they're a really good source. If you get a good quality one, of course, it all depends on your quality. But it's really nice. You can add it into water or add it into like little keto muffins or keto flatbread, pancakes, whatever you're making. Just sprinkle it on your vegetables. It's a good source of concentrated micronutrients. You can get different herbs.
Yeah, I think the green powders are awesome too. I mean, they might not taste good to most people, but
you get used to them though. We pounded them.
Yeah, like Vitamineral Green is a really good one.
That's
from Health Force Nutritionals. Yeah. There's a few other brands, but we were always really big into the Vitamineral Green. We started taking that in like 2008 and loved it. Felt great. I think green powders can be a really good way to get in micronutrients. Most of the foods, you're just buying broccoli from the store, spinach from the store. The soil is very, very depleted of micronutrients. So if you're eating stuff that's been grown on depleted soil, which most all the soil in North America is absolutely depleted of micronutrients. So, yeah, green powders can be a really good way of just increasing your intake of chlorophyll, micronutrients. I think it's awesome. Get a high quality one though. Don't just get some crap one from GNC.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, make it worth it.
Spend a few bucks on the good one. I like the Vitamin Green. It comes in a really dark glass, and it's meticulously sourced ingredients and very high quality stuff. They've got kelp in there, and even a few like probiotic strains, I believe, and maybe some enzymes as well. But yeah, I think it's awesome. Carlos' second question: is it true that having raw eggs can be harmful? No. It's as true as you can't eat nuts and cheese in a ketogenic diet. I don't know where you hear this. Raw eggs can be harmful. I mean, for some people, if you've got an allergy to eggs, yeah.
No, I think it comes from people are afraid of salmonella.
Oh, salmonella. Okay. All right.
So if you have local, organic, fresh eggs, not dangerous. If you have eggs that are farm raised, right? And they've been sitting out for a while. Yeah, mass produced, poorly. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Farm raised.
Cage raised. I mean, don't eat those. Yeah, don't eat those raw. Cause
just get good quality food. Yeah, eating raw eggs is fine. Look, with the eggs that you get in almost anywhere in the world, other than North America, than the United States. I'm not sure if you live in the States, but when we first moved down to Ecuador, and I'm sure when Jessica first visited Europe as well, you kind of trip out because you realize people don't refrigerate their eggs anywhere else in the world other than the United States. So here people don't refrigerate their eggs. They kind of just rinse them off. They might still have a lot of bacteria on them from the chicken, but it's not really a problem. Wouldn't really worry about it. But
I wouldn't worry about it.
Some people think that like some people have been saying stuff like you can't eat egg whites because egg whites are just bad across the board now. I don't know. People love to say ridiculous things, and it's absurd. Here's another question about keto adaptation. Once you are there, do your ketones stay in the 1.5 and above range? All right, your ketones to be in ketosis only have to be above 0.5, first of all. So whoever's saying that, probably just trying to confuse you a little bit. Do they still change? You've been at this for 2 months, losing inches, feel great.
That's awesome.
But the weight has not changed, and blood ketone numbers range from 0.5 to 2.8.
There you go.
She's struggling to get good info, and she's not cheated. All right, so Jocelyn, that's a really good question. 0.5 is ketosis. 0.5 to 2.8, great. You haven't lost weight on the scale, but your measurements are changing positively and you're losing body fat.
And you feel good.
And you feel good, so there's recompositioning going on. If you want to drop more body fat, you can either stay at these same macros and continue and wait and see what happens. You could maybe dial back the fats a little bit. There's a few things that you can manipulate, but you're fine. If you're losing inches, and you're not losing weight, then you're probably putting on some lean muscle, which is good. It's going to increase your metabolism. So over time, you're going to burn more calories, more fat throughout the day, and you're going to feel good. And yeah, you're doing great. So don't worry about the numbers.
And as far as changing, Tristan addressed this a bit in the beginning of the video. Depending on the time of day that you measure yourself, they're going to be different, right? So the morning will be a little different.
She's probably getting 0.5 in the morning, 2.8 in the afternoon.
Okay. After exercising is not the best time, because you're theoretically using the ketones, so they'll be low there as well.
Lita O'Kenny's asking, can someone without a gallbladder do keto? Yes, they can.
We talked about that in another Q&A. I think the first one we did.
Yeah. You got to use, a lot of people who don't have a gallbladder might have to use like bile salts, ox bile salts, to help digest, break down the fats, but you can do it. You can definitely do it. Lita O'Kenny also asks, what are your thoughts on the different macas? Raw versus cooked. There's black maca varieties, red maca varieties. This is I know a lot about maca. Macas are it's one of my favorite adaptogens. Different types of maca. There's been research done, and supposedly black maca can be a lot better for male fertility, increasing sperm motility and seminal volume.
Don't look at me when you say that.
That's so gross, right? Seminal volume. Increasing seminal volume. So
just testing it.
Black maca, I'm just playing with you. Black maca supposedly is much better for that. As far as the effects as an adaptogen, the differences between black maca, red maca, and like what's sold as
cream?
regular maca, which would be a mixture of probably about 90% cream colored maca, 5% black, and 5% red. So about 5% of the harvest is black maca, about 5% is red maca. And also, interestingly, about 5% of the black maca you buy on the market will actually be black maca. So, I mean, if you're trying to get maca, I would recommend going through a trusted, reputable source, not just getting one of like, the cheapest one that you can find on Amazon. The top sellers on Amazon are usually the lowest quality, the people who don't really care about what they're getting. Don't ask, don't tell type sourcing that goes on. All right, now raw versus cooked. That's a good question. A lot of people prefer the raw maca. It has more of what's called the macamides. These compounds,
Really?
yeah, they're compounds that are identified in maca, and there's more of those that are bioavailable in the raw maca. That being said, the raw maca will also have some resistant starch. A little bit of resistant starch in there. Some people get a little gassy from the resistant starch. So raw versus cooked, which would be a gelatinized maca, or some might be toasted. Now, gelatinized maca. Quit Skype so I don't get weird messages that distract me. It's like the only part I gotta edit out. There you go, Skype's gone. Raw versus gelatinized maca. Gelatinized maca is heated under pressure, breaks the starch chains, kind of pushes it towards a little bit higher sugar content, will be digested quicker. Benefits of gelatinized: if somebody is very sensitive to the raw maca, they don't like the raw maca, gelatinized would be a better way to go. A lot of people prefer the raw. A lot of people prefer the gelatinized. I like the raw maca myself.
You can toast it a bit yourself as well. If you get the raw maca, you spread it out on a baking sheet, and you can pop it in the oven for like 10 minutes until you start to smell it. You don't want to burn it, obviously, but you can toast it a little bit and just experiment that way and see if you react differently to one or the other.
All right, so then Lita also asks, do you feed your child keto? Will you talk about feeding your child?
Child,
Hey, child.
come here. Go.
All right, so Ariana, we don't feed Ariana like a ketogenic diet. She's growing. She's a 3.5-year-old kid. If she had epilepsy or something, of course, she'd probably be on a more ketogenic diet. She eats a lot of fats. We're not afraid to give her good fats. She eats a lot of the keto foods that we eat. She eats. Plus, she loves foods like
local seasonal fruits.
Yeah, yogurt and honey all day.
Yeah. That would be her ideal.
Can I do the honey? She likes to put in the honey herself. Right, Ari? You like yogurt and honey?
Yes.
What else do you like?
Anything else.
Anything else. She likes anything else. She likes yogurt and honey.
She'll ask me for good, healthy food sometimes.
Give me good, healthy food. She hears us. She's so cute. Yeah, she eats keto foods, but not keto diet. Here's a cool question. Stephanie Crobat Hughes says, I'm 28 weeks pregnant. My midwife Congrats. Mm-hmm. My midwife suggested that I eat between 45 and 60 carbs a day. She's insulin resistant, doesn't have gestational diabetes, overweight before pregnancy, been eating keto on and off for about 6 weeks. Well, there you go. Somebody's been doing keto during pregnancy. She's doing fine. Just wondering if it's okay to cut out the carbs completely. Stephanie, I mean, it's really hard to give you an answer from this type of question. Jessica, what do you think? I don't think it's a good idea to cut out carbs completely.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's contextual, right? I mean, it really depends on how you're feeling. But also, like I said before, I mean, if you're trying to adapt, pregnancy is like a constant kind of stress. Like you're under construction for a long period of time. So I think adding any extra stress is not advisable or really beneficial to you or your baby. And like we also talked about before, we've seen certain studies that indicate women are more likely to use the carbohydrate as that energy. Excuse me. And I don't think, I mean, there's no reason you should be afraid of having carbs or I think you should really base it on how you're feeling. And I mean, your midwife is there to help you, so you guys can work together as a team and kind of I don't know. You gotta kind of figure it
Yeah,
out.
you
got
got to figure that out for yourself. You're probably going to need more carbs than you would if you're just feeding yourself. You're growing a baby. You
Yeah,
gotta be-
and source your carbs from like local seasonal fruits. Berries.
Yeah, don't be afraid of carbs. I mean, you can lose, like if you're looking to lose weight, do it after pregnancy.
Yeah.
Don't try to lose weight in your third trimester of pregnancy.
Definitely.
If that's the goal, I don't know that that's the goal. You might just do better because you got the insulin resistance. You might just do better on lower carbs. But yeah.
And also, I mean, you say you have a sweet tooth. You're kind of like a sugar person, but this can be a good time. I mean, I think one of the kind of like glowing attributes of being a mother and being a good one is being flexible and learning along the whole process. So this is a time you can
flexible dieting.
If
it fits your macros.
You can learn a lot about yourself right now and see why you want to eat these foods.
Just Pop-Tart deficient. No, just eat some more carbs and you'll be fine. We got 35 minutes already.
Okay.
Here's another one. Shelly is asking, in your experience, does a keto diet cause blood glucose to drop really fast? Will it adjust over time? Hers was 56 in the morning. She only got it up to 71 after eating a meal. Shelly, that's pretty low. That's very, very low blood sugar. That is kind of abnormally low. But if you're just starting, yes, your blood sugar will adjust over time. Usually people's blood sugar is normal when they're on a ketogenic diet. So that's a little bit low. You could just be adjusting to the diet. I'm really interested if you had hypoglycemia type symptoms with the 56 blood glucose reading, but also maybe your blood glucose monitor's off. Those things aren't always correct. 56 sounds real low. If you were able to function fine at 56.
That's probably fasting, right? If she did it in the morning.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. Carlo, got another question. Carlo, which workout do you think is optimal for building the most optimal strength and body? No soldier. Is it best full body or the typical bro split? Context. I mean, it depends. I mean, what do you like to do? Do you like to do strength training? If you like to do strength training, if that's what gets you going, if you enjoy doing things like the deadlift, the squat, and the bench press, that's probably best for you. In which case, you'll probably be gravitating towards some little bit lower rep training. Although, if you're trying to build muscle, volume and frequency are things that you're going to have to tinker with to find what's optimal for you and your situation for wherever you're at. So it's going to be contextual for every individual. Now, the basic part of the question is full body workouts or typical bro splits. I would say higher frequency full body workouts would probably yield better results for a lot of people than a typical so-called bro split, which is kind of developed by bodybuilders using steroids. So, if you're beginning, hitting multiple whatever. If you're beginning, intermediate, or advanced, hitting body parts multiple times a week using a well-formulated full body approach might yield better results, but this is all contextual. So if you're going to experiment with stuff, experiment for more than 1 week, and you can get an idea of how your body reacts. So a lot of people are really into the full body training these days, something that I've been using, and I really like it. I really like full body type workouts, but I still do focus on a single compound movement per day, and then I'll do my accessory exercises as more full body workouts. So yeah, there's another one. Carlo also asked, what's your take on coffee? There are conflicting sides, whether it's healthy or not. And he asks, creatine on keto, your thoughts? All right, so creatine's fine. I don't get why. People, I think it asks that quite a bit, like creatine on keto, is it okay? There's no contraindication. Like if you're using creatine, it's not going to affect ketosis. Your body won't treat it any differently. Some people believe that you need glucose to transport the creatine into the muscles and into the cells. That's not true. You do not need glucose for that. You do not need insulin for that. So, coffee. What's up with coffee?
Coffee. It's one of those things where if you are dependent on it to get through your day, it's probably not the best thing for you. And there's other things you can adjust to maximize your health and vitality. If you're having a cup in the morning, not so bad. We're not going to tell you to cut it out completely. There are conflicting things. I mean, some people say it's good, some people say it's bad.
I'll say this. If you drink coffee, you will die. If you drink water, you will die. No, we're all going to die. If you really like coffee, you love coffee, you can't live without it. You got dependence on it, might not be optimal. You just like coffee, that's fine. I mean, there's worse things and there's better things. It's not really a huge debate. I mean, maybe he's talking about. There's all these like studies that come out every once in a while. I'll show you like, coffee drinkers live longer, and coffee has all these antioxidants, and it's really beneficial.
I've seen coffee has minerals, and then I've seen coffee leaches minerals from your bones.
Coffee's got phytic acid, which will bind up a lot of minerals, can bind calcium, magnesium, and deplete you of magnesium. So there's downsides to it.
It's another thing where the source really does matter. It's like you could have really cheap coffee beans from Africa, or from like somewhere, some
racist
mega farm.
I'll delete that part.
Some mega farm in South America, or you could get really good organic, fresh beans
grown by white people. Huh?
You're so bad.
You're so bad. You said Africa. Man, this is going downhill. The PC level.
Oh, Tristan.
I don't know, man. You're gonna try to white-splain that to me?
White-splain?
I think that's a thing that people say now. I don't know.
I don't know what that
White
means.
people are bad.
But I know. I mean, for chocolate, for example.
I'm kidding.
What I know better is like there's poor chocolate, poor quality chocolate, like Hershey's chocolate. You don't want to eat that, but you can get nice cacao from Ecuador. It's like next.
All right. So Andro Tomas has a good question. Does keto have any positive effects on narcolepsy? So narcolepsy is a pretty interesting thing. It's a neurological disease. So or I don't know if you call it disease or disorder. But narcolepsy is marked by tiredness during the day. People might nod off during the day, have trouble sleeping at night. I think sleep paralysis might also be a common occurrence. Sleep paralysis is not fun. If anybody's ever had sleep paralysis, it is I don't know. It goes far beyond like physical phenomenon. So a lot of times with sleep paralysis, and it can be really crazy. So narcolepsy with keto. As a matter of fact, I have seen, I think there was like one study done that suggested that a keto diet, I think in this study they only used an Atkins diet, which is not even a deep ketogenic diet, and they said that it had positive effects on most of the people in the study who had narcolepsy. So you might want to give keto a shot. Balance your brain chemistry, give it a different source of nutrients, and I think the research does show that narcolepsy and ketosis, that ketosis can have a beneficial effect on narcolepsy. So I think that's like all the questions from the Facebook one. There's a few questions. Had a few questions on this one.
From YouTube.
From YouTube, yeah, from our last video.
Is this the bacon video?
No, the last Q&A video.
Okay.
The bacon video. Actually, there was not that much negative response to the bacon video. Just a few ideologues who can't handle somebody with a different opinion that felt the need to try and assert some emotional response on me. And those people just get banned because I'm a total fascist in the comments. If you come with negative crap, you're just going to get banned. I'm not here to argue with people in the comments. Although sometimes I will. So Natalie Anthony says she was previously on a low-carb diet for shredding. Oh, no! Natalie! All right. Maybe she wasn't, like, unhealthily shredded. Can't assume that. Calories and fats for health. She wants to increase calories and fats for healthy hormones and the hopes of conceiving. There you go. She got shredded. She lost her fertility. What is that telling you, people? Maybe, just maybe, being ripped and shredded as a woman is not an ideal state. Your body's telling you you can't reproduce in this state. We don't have enough resources to create a new life. You're not healthy enough right now to reproduce. We're not going to do it. It's telling you something. So good job trying to increase calories, get to a healthy body fat level, get your hormones right. She's been trying out keto for the last month. She feels good. So keto can be a really good way to recover from these hormone-damaging female bodybuilding diets. It can be a really good way to recover where you don't gain super significant amount of body fats. You don't feel the need to binge all the time. Because what happens when you restrict so much is your body wants to bounce back and binge. You get real hungry. You'll get these cravings, and it'll be like unstoppable cravings, and you just want to binge. So getting into ketosis might be a couple weeks of difficulty because you're going to want to binge so badly on those carbs because your body's just trying to bounce back and regain some weight to get healthy so that it can conceive, so that it can pass on its life to a new being, create new life. So she's been trying out keto for the last months, happy. Increased carbs to 100 grams now. She's pregnant. She got pregnant. Congratulations. That's awesome. From shredded to pregnant. And she increased her fats and her calories to do it and wasn't afraid to. So that's good. Big steps. Just hoping to hear about more about pregnancy and keto in the future. So yeah, there's not been a lot of like research done.
There's
but
really not that much information.
yeah, you were doing keto before, you felt good. Now you're doing 100 grams of carb, you probably feel good. I would be interested to hear like what your blood ketone levels are, if they've changed much. Because I would posit if you're, 3-6 months pregnant or however pregnant you are, you probably got higher blood ketones than the average person, even on 100 grams of carbs. So keep up what you're doing. Definitely think eating more carbs when you're pregnant. Not worrying about abs when you're pregnant is going to be good and healthy. Don't worry about gaining some body fat. You lose it later. Get healthy. Grow that baby. Yes, you don't have to get obese when you're pregnant, but don't be afraid to gain a little bit of junk in the trunk when you're building a baby. What do you think, Jessica?
Well, I'm reminded that an average number, I mean, something to expect if you're of an average body composition, you're in for at least 25 to 35 pounds.
Most of that's like blood and water.
It's blood, it's baby, it's like
blood and baby.
Maternity fat, like breast fat.
Blood, fat, baby, and boobies.
Yeah, like all this extra liquid.
The 4 B's. Oh, there's an F in there, huh?
But it's like when you gain it in a healthy way, you can lose it in a healthy way.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Morstad the man said, "Have you done ayahuasca?" Have you done ayahuasca? Because I think we talked. Somebody asked about like psychedelics.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. Jessica, have you done ayahuasca? Done it.
Yes.
Did you do it just because of just for kicks?
Just for fun.
Yeah, right. Don't do ayahuasca just for fun. Don't do these things just for fun. We have done ayahuasca. Yeah. If you've been around people like who do ayahuasca and get really into it, they'll start to talk all weird about it.
We haven't done it like that.
I have not taken them. Have you drank the medicine lately? The medicine.
We did it before it was trending.
We're hipsters. We did it before it was cool. Yeah, we've done ayahuasca. Look, these are very powerful things. They also have a very strong cultural phenomenon around them and a long history of use for various reasons. It's not just used in the Amazon for achieving a state of bliss, love and light, hippy-dippy flowers and rainbows and unicorns. It's not like that. Where ayahuasca comes from. So I think the westernized conception of what these compounds are is very different than the indigenous people actually see them and what goes on in the Amazon. I mean, these are like, you go to the Amazon, you realize pretty quickly if you spend some time there, you don't just go to some retreat where you pay a guy $1,000 to dose you with ayahuasca, shake some leaves on you and feed you rice for a few days, and then send you off on your way and tell you you've been given the power, maybe feel you up while you're there, do a little booby touching. That does go on. But yeah, it's actually like spiritual warfare in the Amazon. They use these things for battle. They're battling other ayahuasqueros. People call them shamans. Shaman is a Western term. It comes from Siberia.
Yeah, the locals don't call them shamans.
Well, they do now because it's...
Brujos.
Yeah,
witches.
yeah, right, exactly. Well, that comes from the Catholic tradition, calling them brujos. But before, I mean, curanderos is another Spanish term. But the traditions are very different than I believe people think they are. These are very serious compounds. It's like playing with fire in your mind. Any of these things that will change your consciousness, even marijuana for some people, can be very profound, life-changing experience. And ayahuasca, psychedelics, magic mushrooms, LSD, all these things have to be, if you're going to take them, you must take them with respect, and you got to take them with the
With an
your
intention.
with a clear intention,
Yeah.
and don't go looking for good time kicks in a party, or think that it's just going to be a shortcut to enlightenment, because that's a real quick way to just get reset back to where you were. You feel real great for a few days, and then go back right back to where you were. So it's more important what you do after these things, how you implement changes in your life, and how you implement how you change your interaction with the world, your relationship to life, based on what you see and what you've been shown and what you've experienced. Just like everyday life. It's kind of like life accelerated under a microscope.
We have a big microscope, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it's a very wild experience. Wouldn't recommend it to everybody. But yeah, so let's see. Chris asks, do you need to eat every few hours on a ketogenic diet? I find myself struggling because I'm not hungry. No, you don't need to eat every few hours. If you only eat 2 to 3 times a day, that is completely
That's awesome.
normal. So he's
Yeah.
probably coming from like a bodybuilding type background where people think you got to eat 5, 6, 7 times a day. On a keto diet, no, you don't need to eat. The reason why people might want to eat that many times a day is because they're probably restricting carbohydrates and restricting fats in the diet, and raising their blood sugar and getting blood sugar dysregulation from all these meals. So they'll eat a meal, then they'll crash. Eat a meal, then they'll crash. On keto, your blood sugar is stable. You don't really need to do that all the time. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it. We're probably almost an hour.
I would just say, to follow up a bit, I eat 2 times a day. It's awesome to eat. From the perspective of a person who makes food all the time, it's way more awesome.
Or 0 times a day, right?
Well, no.
If you're making the food. I usually eat twice a day.
And as a mom, we can go out and I don't have to worry about packing a bunch of snacks. And I do notice, like, with the...
But Ariana's not on a ketogenic diet, but that's funny, too, though, because she still doesn't need to snack a lot like other kids.
Yeah.
She can...
I don't ever worry about her crashing or, like, what is it called? Like, hitting the wall or just having a breakdown, like a meltdown in the middle of public,
I need sugar!
I
Huh,
like
Ariana.
that.
Yeah,
What do you think? How many times a day should you eat?
1.
Just
Oh,
one? Yeah, right.
She probably eats like...
She eats like 5 times a day, but she just kind of grazes.
Yeah.
She's funny. It's so hard to pin her down and get her to eat a lot of food at one time. But yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. It's been a
Yeah, that was a good one.
nice session. You can find more at www.primaledgehealth.com. How many months pregnant are you right now, Jessica?
3.
And Ariana, how many months pregnant are you?
I'm not checking.
You were pregnant earlier though, weren't you?
I'm not.
Okay. Ariana's been having babies lately also.
Very frequently.
Yeah, almost like 4 or 5 times a day.
She squats them out.
She squats them out. Yeah, so 12 months pregnant,
Mhm.
looking good, feeling good. Nice. How's your sleep been? Better?
Oh, it's been good.
It's hard to wake up, huh?
Yeah.
It's hard to stop it.
I wake up, but it's just the bed's so cozy and warm and it's all so nice.
That's how everybody feels. Alright, so you can find more at www.primaledgehealth.com. If the coaching page hasn't been working, I apologize. I'm trying to
I'll
fix
fix
that.
it today. I'll fix it right now.
Yeah, so check us out, www.primaledgehealth.com. Podcasts, videos, articles, the cookbook's coming soon. That's what I'm going to work on right now. And we'll see you guys next time.